be in calendar 26. If we think that the math shakes out the way we think it is, that actually means they're on track to meeting next year's numbers, which are incredible. They're for more than 40% growth. So a lot of this quarter isn't going to just boil down to the numbers they report for this quarter next, but to Jensen Huang's willingness to spell out what he meant when he said $500 billion of Blackwell and moving.
Patrick Moorhead, there's always doubt, it seems, lately heading into an NVIDIA quarter, and the stock tends to wobble after the report, even if the results, when the results are good and better than expected. What is it on the conference call? What is it about what Jensen Huang tends to say about the pipeline and about the demand he sees that gets things stabilized again?
Yeah, so I agree with what Gil said, but what I'd like to see is the equation or the math that goes from the 40% year-over-year increase in hyperscaler CapEx, a percentage of take from NVIDIA to make those numbers become more real. Jensen did give more clarity on those numbers, which was 5 to 6 quarters to $500 billion. And to me, it's very supported by the CapEx increases by their largest customers.
I want to mention the results are out. We are going through them. You can see the stock is up a couple percent.
Yeah. So, Gail, I'm going to go back to you. We're probably going to cut you off here in a couple of seconds, and that is depreciation. How important is that? Certainly investors are debating how long the shelf life of these chips actually is.
It's very important because it's a big driver of profitability for their biggest customers, Microsoft, Amazon, Google. Their current depreciation schedule corresponds to a certain level of margins. If they had to accelerate that depreciation schedule, their margins would go down. But more importantly for those companies is their cash returns. And their cash returns really don't...
I'm going to cut you off so we can get to Christina. Stay right there. Christina Parts-Nevelis has the numbers.
Let's start with the top and bottom line. So it is a beat. $1.30 adjusted EPS, earnings per share higher than the street, 5 cents higher on revenues of $57 billion. Also higher not only than the street, but higher than crazy. In regards to data center revenue, which is contributing about almost 90% of total revenue. So a big factor that is $51.2 billion. And then gross margins. We keep worrying about input costs, memory costs, etc. Gross margins coming in slightly above 73.6%. Street was anticipating 73.4%. There's a very bold statement from Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA. Blackwell sales are off the charts and cloud GPUs are sold out. Compute demand keeps accelerating and compounding across training and inference. So, and he said we've entered this virtuous cycle of AI. So I'll go through it to get you some more numbers, but so far quite bullish. The stock reacting positively. Guys?
All right, Christina, thank you. Stock's up about 4.5% right now. Gil, I just cut you off, so I want to get your initial take on this.
Yeah, I'll finish the thought to say that their most important customers are Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. Those companies have all the customers, and they just told us 2 weeks ago that just in the most recent quarter, they saw a positive inflection point for demand. So they are able to rent out NVIDIA GPUs years in advance, and they're building to that demand. That tells us they're getting positive cash-on-cash returns, which is the most important thing. Of all the things that are happening to NVIDIA, the most important thing is that those 3 companies, which represent most of the demand and all of the customers, are telling us they need as many NVIDIA GPUs as they can get.
Patrick Moorhead, want to get your reaction to what we've heard so far from this print, especially with Jensen Huang saying Blackwell sales are off the charts and cloud GPUs are sold out. Oh, all right. I think we just lost Patrick. Gail, I'll get your thoughts on that.
So the numbers are great. Again, the numbers right now are great. What's more important is that for the first time, so 2 weeks ago when Jensen told us about that $500 billion number, he was giving us the longest term guidance he's given in a long time. So that tells us everything is hitting as it should. They should be able to live up to that demand. So not only are the numbers right now good, but we do have more visibility into next year than we've had before.
All right, speaking of visibility into next year, let's get the guidance from Christina Parts-Nevelis. Christina.
So we have Q4 revenue guide. That is coming in at $65 billion. Not only higher than the street, but higher than most buy-side numbers. Morgan Stanley, Bank of America was, guessing anywhere between, I shouldn't say guessing, but saying between 63 and 64 billion. So you can see this guide coming in at 65 billion. Same thing for Q4 non-GAAP gross margins. Again, this number is at 75%. Keep in mind, the CFO Colette Kress promised that they would exit the year in the mid-70s, around 75%. So it seems like this guide is holding true to that promise so far. So again, shares reacting positively to this stronger guide that is even higher than what the buy-side houses were expecting.
All right, Christina, thank you. I know you're continuing to look at it, and the stock, Gail Luria, is still up 3%. This is an unusual response for NVIDIA after earnings. Often it's kind of sell the news, even when the news is quite good. And maybe some of this has to do with the way the stock has been performing lately. We were just mentioning, Christina Partsinevelos was how it's been underperforming AMD. But this also suggests with both a strong Q4 revenue guide and strong gross margins that there's plenty of demand at these high prices, right?
That's right. And what we've had coming into this quarter is all these concerns about NVIDIA. Very well-placed concerns. Scrutiny on CapEx. What's going to happen with China? Competition from TPUs. All of the depreciation, as we talked about. Circular deals. All these things are valid concerns. They put pressure on NVIDIA's stock, but sometimes the most important thing is the only thing.
What's up, Coco?
The demand for AI compute is growing so fast.
Like and subscribe, y'all. We sitting here. NVIDIA earnings.
To continue to buy NVIDIA into the foreseeable future in order to be able to provide us access to the AI compute we want. Just yesterday, Google came out with Gemini, and we've been talking about how that's on top of TPUs. But the more important takeaway is that this is by far the biggest model trained on most chips, which tells us we're still on the scaling for compute. So our models are still getting better, even though we're now using gargantuan clusters of chips to train them. That is a very good sign for the demand for NVIDIA.
Okay, we want to get back to Christina Partsinevelos for more from this report. Christina.
So it's actually now from the CFO comments. They put that on their website post earnings. And so what Colette Kress is saying is a shorter
report,
and she
taking profits right quick.
Sales were insignificant in the third quarter. I know Gil was just talking about China. H20s were geared towards China, but keep in mind last quarter too they spoke about H20 sales not going to China not because of the United States, but because China is blocking companies from using those H20 sales. There's two other points too have to do with gaming, which still contributes almost 9% of total revenue. Gaming fell 1% sequentially, and they're saying this has to do with just heading into the holiday season. Things normalize. Q4 tends to be a lot stronger. And then lastly, auto revenue, which is up and coming, perhaps going to be a big
So the security put,
term, but right now is only up to
so
1%
the security put might not be needed,
32% from a year
although
ago,
it's
and
wholly
that's because
possible
of their
that
self-driving
it could still slip in
Okay.
share price
Christina
tomorrow,
Partsinevelos,
but
thank
not
you. Shares are
likely.
moving up about 3%
I think
right now.
NVIDIA is about to
Patrick, you wanna
fly.
head back. So I want to bring you into this.
I think NVIDIA is about to fly.
Patrick, I want to get your response to the numbers. It was a beat and raise for NVIDIA, much better than expected. Strong commentary from Jensen Huang, and all of this without China. Your thoughts?
That's exactly what I expected. Beat, and raise, and it makes sense, right? If you look at the near term, Blackwell is sold out, and there's unprecedented demand. And we can debate and we can argue that it's frontier models, and there's no downstream to it, but we're still in this building stage. So there's really nothing to debate here. And then when I put the extra CapEx, the hyperscalers forecasted a 40% increase in CapEx into 2026. I think that pretty much secures 2026. So for the most part, we're talking about 2027, which is, can we get enough power? And is there enough downstream demand to monetize the previous investments?
All right. Well, James Demert, back with us here on set. You already own NVIDIA, so you're happy. You probably don't sell it, but do you buy it?
I think if you don't own enough of it, you gotta add more here, John. And I think a lot of people don't own it. I think a lot of people are just, again, underestimating how incredible these numbers can be. Probably going to be that way all the way into 26. So if I own it, which we do, a lot of it, we want to continue to have that position. If your position's not big enough, I think you use this chop. I mean, the stock's down 10% from the high. Here's a great window to go in here and acquire more shares. And I don't think you're going to have any problem with competition in 26. But let's keep in mind, the real risk in NVIDIA isn't the AI cycle because we're early, but it is the product. And you've got Google and Amazon coming along with some chips as well. And that could be something we look at in 26. But boy, this gives them.
Yeah, Barbara is here on set as well, also a shareholder. What are your thoughts on this report? We just talked about it. The H20 sales were insignificant in the quarter, according to CFO comments. I mean, earlier today, you had Jensen Huang in Washington for this Saudi investment summit as well. And one of the headlines that came out of that is the fact that it looks like the U.S. is now greenlighting these advanced chips for investments in Saudi Arabia. How much does sovereign AI still have a role to play, especially if you do start to see a petering off in coming years of hyperscaler capex?
I think sovereign has a big role, and we didn't even talk about China because that's still very caught up in political ways. So that could be another, if they get permission to sell the Blackwell current generation chips, that could be $50 billion to them. But the sovereigns are definitely coming, and it's with the hyperscalers first. There's the ones that are spending hundreds of billions, but the sovereigns will be quite large. As long as there's not a political issue in selling to them, this could be big new markets that are happening. So the Saudi Arabians, are going to be one of many, and we've already seen, a bunch of the countries stepping up for this. So,
Deloria, we don't see NVIDIA doing a lot of large-scale acquisitions, maybe because
there's been a lot of
it's risky
a lot
to
of
try, but
things
we do
going
see
on
them spreading the love in the forms of billions of dollars
a lot of great
across
things
the
going
software
on.
AI landscape. Is that going to be enough to fuel growth in the way that big M&A tends to when companies are at this scale and people are continuing to look for growth?
Taking place.
Yeah, there's no way they get any acquisition of any size approved. They weren't able to buy ARM years ago when they were much smaller. They're not going to be able to buy something now. Those investments are helping them seed the market. So there's investments like the one they just made in Anthropic. That's a very valuable investment because Anthropic's leading the way on STEM research, on coding research. And so that creates a bigger and bigger market. There's also some investments that we're not crazy about. When they give CoreWeave $1, CoreWeave borrows $9 and then uses 8 of the 10 to buy NVIDIA chips and doesn't get sufficient returns to pay its interest. We don't love that. We'd rather NVIDIA keep selling to Microsoft, Google, Meta, Elon. There's enough customers out there. And as you just made the point on the panel, the Chinese market will come back at some point. These numbers that we're talking about, they don't include almost any China. When those come back, that's another leg. You talked about the globalization, which is selling outside of the U.S., outside of just the U.S. hyperscalers. So they still have that going on. They don't need the circular deals in order to continue to grow. They can keep investing in these small software companies that are driving AI development and research. They don't need the little neo-cloud deals. Those have been destructive to their share price and to the market, and we hope they start moving away from that.
Yeah. Patrick, I mean, we're throwing boards up on the side of the screen here showing all the stocks that are moving higher in sympathy, including, by the way, not only like other chip makers that might be experiencing a halo effect like Taiwan Semi, but also direct competitors like AMD and Broadcom here. Want to get your thoughts on whether this is a rising tide that lifts all boats, certainly for markets right now here in overtime, it seems to be.
Yeah, this is a testament to future demand for the space. NVIDIA did well. NVIDIA is the bellwether for the space, and this means that demand continues. So there's increased confidence across the entire industry, and I wouldn't be surprised if that extends to not just additional chip stocks, but also downstream providers and customers of NVIDIA. All
right. Patrick Moorhead, Gil Luria, Barb Duran, James Demmer, thank you all for joining us, our all-star panel.
Thank you.
Well, we've got much more reaction to the NVIDIA results. That is coming up right after this break, right here on Overtime.
NVIDIA hit earnings.
Comcast Business Advanced Networking and Security Solutions help turn businesses
and
into
it exceeded expectations.
Supply chain transforming, seamlessly restock.
They hit the projected earnings and exceeded expectations.
Cybersecurity, mobile access granting, data managing. Welcome to the world of modern businesses.
Remember one thing,
Modern business.
and that one thing is just that
The decisions made there shape
the market may not always repeat itself.
but often the
What do you mean, Hector?
advantage you need is just outside your network.
The market
makes highly curated
may not always
that bring
repeat
fresh,
itself, y'all.
experienced talent into your board ecosystem.
So,
they're trusted by firms across the capital
for the
landscape
last
and guest
3
hosted
earnings
by
reports,
industry giants
whether
across the
NVIDIA
world.
made
Visit
earnings or not, the stock price fell.
brilliantimpact.org/connect.
That was the reason that I had a put in place in case that the stock price fell.
Connections.
If for some reason, which I didn't think that I didn't have any thought in my mind that they would not make earnings or hit their projections. But you just never know. The last 3 earnings calls, even when they hit earnings, the stock price fell. So that was a security for me. Man, for what I may lose on that put, just to protect myself, it's not going to compare to what I'm going to make on those upside calls that's going to be in the money tomorrow. Woo wee! Are they going to be in the money tomorrow?
36 pieces of delicious pizza.
And so, it seems like it's been a blessed week. I was in court all day today about the visitation with my daughters. It's been straightened out. You know, we've come to an understanding that she has no control over the visitation and that she does have to follow the visitation. And so I'll be receiving my regular visits with my daughters like I'm supposed to every other weekend. And get my time with my babies and my children. You know.
Welcome back to Overtime. Checking out the markets right now. The Dow up 47 points. That's where we ended. The S&P also ending higher, almost 0.4%, 66.42 is the level there. And the Nasdaq
What's up?
finishing up 0.6%.
What's up?
All of those major averages
Jackson.
breaking multi-day losing streaks. Well, NVIDIA right now, it's higher here in Overtime by, about 3.5%. Earnings of $1.30 per share. Revenue $57 billion. That was both, I should say, were better than expected. That
$57 billion revenue.
Year over year.
Hell?
Raising guidance as well, which had been expected, but the
raising guidance.
Street estimates. Positive comments from the CEO Jensen Huang saying Blackwell sales are quote off the charts.
Yeah, also checking on some other stocks in the data center game, crashing the party. AMD, Micron, Broadcom, all higher in Overtime. CoreWeave up about almost 6%. Small after hours gains for the other mega cap tech stocks too. Alphabet continuing its strong performance. It is the only Mag 7 stock higher in November. And a big deal in software today. Adobe buying SEMrush for $12 a share. That amounts to $1.9 billion. SEMrush helps companies with their brand visibility online as that game changes from search engine optimization to being AI driven.
And we've talked a lot about the decline in Bitcoin. It's also having a huge impact on the companies which have become crypto treasuries. Strategy has lost nearly half of its value in the last 3 months.
Up next, Fast Money's Tim Seymour on how he's trading NVIDIA following these results, plus all the earnings that could move the market tomorrow when Overtime returns.
Million hours of video are uploaded onto the internet every day. I set out to help brands cut through the noise with an AI-powered program. We raised over $50 million to over 10,000 investors and delivered real ROI for Fortune 1000 companies. And now, we're scaling fast. Aggressive acquisition, platform growth, and a reserve NASDAQ ticker, RADI. Everyday investors like yourself can have a seat at the table.
Wait until November 20th.
Every morning, even before the markets open, I'm planning my moves that I make throughout the day. When you're actively trading, the fees really start to add up, and that eats directly into your returns. If I went public, it's really the whole platform that offers rebates on your option trades, which help offset those costs.
Like and subscribe, y'all. This. I'm a human being. I'm a real person. I do partake of cannabis, sativa, and indica. As a Native American, I believe that it is a sacred plant that was given to us from the Creator. I utilize it for medicinal purposes, spiritual elevation, meditation. Oh yes, and so one does not affect the other. Please know and understand.
When logic bends, when certainty's stronger, when left is right and right is left, which way do you turn?
Portfolio headed back up.
A trusted global perspective, the economist. Know which way is up.
Portfolio headed back up.
And AI is transforming the speed of business. Your innovation and how you protect it depends on the
So yeah, you know, we're doing this.
Platform built to secure their business and the AI fueling their innovation. AI is changing the world.
Downsize the portfolio. I'm easing up out of that margin to go back into head towards a $25,000 cash account so we can get back into day trading and move forward. The NVIDIA earnings is over with. They beat all expectations. The AI trade is fine. There are a lot of stocks that are getting ready to soar because of this NVIDIA earnings report, and I'm in several of those stocks. Tim Seymour. Let's hear what Tim is saying. I want to hear what Tim has to say.
Yeah, so much for not wanting to see AI spend, and so much for people actually getting that chance to buy NVIDIA on a dip. I think there's a lot of disappointed people. The fact of the matter is, GTC told us we were going to be north of 500 billion in terms of where they're going to be on 26 for Blackwell, and even the dynamic on the gross margins was where you wanted it. I like NVIDIA here. I like it not only because it's 29 times forward, but because I think actually you actually took a lot of that fast money out of this. Pardon the fast money environment that we're in, where of course everybody wants more fast money. But other than that, I really thought these numbers were strong. Let's see where we kind of settle in. I mean, this reaction is probably even a little bit more muted considering this was supposed to be the Super Bowl. But they hit the numbers that we kind of knew they were going to hit.
Yeah, I want to go back to the valuation here because you just touched on it, especially after
So on some real shit.
Over the last couple of weeks.
There's gonna be some people who really don't know how to get money. And it's gonna be some people that know how to get money. It's gonna be some people that's gonna take profits. They're gonna be taking profits tomorrow. They're gonna be taking profits tomorrow. Tomorrow the price is gonna dip down. In my opinion, I would get it. I'm in the morning. I wanna pop up out of some options contracts, stack some money, and get reinvested into NVIDIA, because from here it's the 200 and beyond. We're gonna have a bounce at 200. We got obviously 205, 206 is resistance. You know what I mean? And so you can look at 183, 180. You could look at from here forward. You could say support about 181. It was on November the 10th. It hit 181. B, I told y'all. I mean, in Jesus Christ, what a great week, because I smacked on puts
this week, as it's happened over the last 10 days.
To smack on puts in the beginning of the week or early in the week, and then to smack on calls, on upside calls, exiting the week, closing the week out. What a great week! A great week for me. Excuse me. A great week for me. I really study this. I really study investing. I really study investing. What a great week for me. What a great week. I smacked them. These are the puts. Since we're journaling, I can show you all the money that I made. Monday, we put a 195 NVIDIA put. It's smack. A 172 Palantir put. It's smack. I had a Boeing put. It's smack yesterday.
He's expecting from the world's largest retailer. And we're just moments away from NVIDIA's earnings.
These the puts that's in right now.
Sarah Benzino, Brandon Coley, Jablonski Auto Body, LLC. What'd she call Harper?
Oh, you mean Jablonski Auto Body, LLC?
Yeah, she sold the twins' naming rights.
You know, like anything else, kids are so expensive these days. Here comes.
Oasis, Breeze, Tan, and Star.
And anybody who would have, I don't give investment advice. I just give my opinion as somebody who actually trades the market. And anybody who would have emulated or chose on their own accord to just follow these trades would have made money. They made money. Go check. These stock options contracts printed money this week.
Streamline estate planning and avoid common fee traps. When it comes to 1031 exchanges, knowledge.
That Boeing put made money.
Investments.com/1031 to download your free guide.
That Boeing 190 put, that made money.
I wish I could get eggs.
This Robinhood put today got in the money.
I'm not looking for another quick fix.
I want a smile I know will last. Digital smiles are made
Yeah.
to stand the test of time.
Yeah, go check. They got in the money.
Backed by 20 years of pioneering research and a lifetime warranty on premium arches.
I'm a savage, stock market savage. We gonna grow this portfolio. This is a reality YouTube financial literacy channel. You guys are watching somebody who turned their life around, who came from the streets, who came from gang banging, who came from selling drugs or dealing drugs and changed their life. I'm not ashamed of that. When you change your life, what you ashamed of? Rest in peace to the dead homies and my loved ones. You know what I'm talking about? We keep the obituaries, they be closed. You know what I'm talking about?
And yet further insight, Jim was just a person to give me that.
Join the club with Jim's best deal of the year at cnbc.com/Club Black Friday. Terms and restrictions
We do this for a reason and for a purpose. You know what I mean?
With my moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis symptoms.
I do this so that my children can have a better life. You know what I'm saying? So that I can have a better life. I changed my life to have a better life. You know what I'm talking about? Fake fast money. This the real fast money. This the real fast money right here. This the real fast money. I woke up this morning and made a few $1,000s, but you know what I'm saying? If I'm a few $1,000s in the hole, it don't matter. We gonna erase away all the losses, and you know what I'm saying? That's part of the game. But this right here, being able to get up and being able to make money from my home, from my apartment, and being able to move around, you feel me?
Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
Done settling?
Ask your rheumatologist for info.
And take back what's yours.
AbbVie can help you save.
Welcome back to Overtime. Let's get you started off with tomorrow's trades today. Another big day of retail earnings with Walmart and Bath & Body Works report before the bell. Then after the bell here in Overtime, we'll break down results from Gap, Ross Stores, and Intuit. We're going to hear exclusively from Intuit CEO on the numbers and the opening ad partnership before the call right here on Overtime.
And better late than never. On the economic front, we will finally get the September jobs report. That's thanks to the end of the government shutdown. The October existing sales will also be released.
Well, let's talk about the big earnings report tomorrow in retail and just in general. Walmart, investors are going to be watching for clues into the health of the consumer. Analysts are looking for more than $175 billion in revenue for the quarter. Joining us now is Joseph Feldman, Senior
Trading from at home. You know what I'm talking about.
So,
Get up in the morning, work. I work. You know what I'm talking about? Take my workout, get my workout done in the middle of me trading, opening positions, closing positions, monitoring positions.
Extremely well positioned in this environment. I mean, they offer the lowest.
It's all about what you want out of life. I was raised by a white man. I'm so different. I don't be trying to, people gonna judge you anyway. I don't be wanting people to judge me. I be telling people I was raised by a white man so they know I don't think like the average motherfucker with brown skin. I was raised by a white man from a baby. Father, he adopted me. My brothers and sisters' biological father raised me from a baby. My white father. I be out thinking these motherfuckers from the hood, from the turf. My dad was connected to the Jewish syndicate. That's the Jewish mafia. Cleveland had a Jewish mafia family, Italian mafia family. You know what I'm talking about? Irish mafia family, Danny Green, Celtic Club. You know what I'm talking about? I was a Giovanni de Anor. I came up during a different time. I'm a 70s baby. I was born in 1970. I'm 54 years old. I'm from a different era. The games that a lot of people play, those type of games got people really, really hurt, really disappeared back in the days. You dig? So, I'm from a different time. But one thing that real men been doing since the beginning of time, building empires, creating wealth. The ones who do it and do it with the spirit of the Creator and the Lord of the universe and a righteous purpose behind them, always leave a legacy.
Joe, if you flip up the hood on Walmart, it's a tech company underneath, right? They just struck this partnership with OpenAI. They have the advertising business. They have all these ways that they've leaned in and invested into new tech and new innovation. Are investors paying enough attention to that and what it means in terms of future revenue streams?
I think that's a great point that you bring up, Morgan, because they really are like a tech company. Doug McMillon has embraced that as CEO. I think John Furner equally will do so going forward. And you've seen a lot of big wins for Walmart and in terms of operating efficiency, serving the customer better. And I think that stock is rewarded for that. When you look at the valuation, it's not inexpensive. So I do think that people kind of have rewarded them for their efforts on the tech side. They've embraced AI as much or better than really anybody in retail. And we think that machine learning, computer vision, you put it all together and you've got real productivity coming out of the company for years to come.
Yeah, you cover a number of the companies we've already gotten results from this week. There's Home Depot and Lowe's and Target today. What are the takeaways so far and how does it set us up for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the consumer is cautious. I think you're seeing that.
Homie done got 200 pounds, they do.
And they're spending what they normally would. Both Home Depot and Lowe's called out not really seeing much of a trade down. Even Target had said that to us as well. So, the consumer remains somewhat resilient. It's just that they are trying to stretch their dollars. You've seen, I think Walmart's probably going to talk about a more pronounced paycheck cycle going forward, which is something that we've heard from other retailers. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Everybody's watching their commentary or listening to their commentary on the consumer.
Yeah, you're on CNBC in the morning, Joe Feldman. Thank you.
Thank you.
As we do prep for Walmart's results, Mike Santoli is breaking down the consumer goods versus services trade on the retail side.
And don't forget, you can catch us on the go by following the Closing Bell Overtime podcast on your favorite podcast app. We'll be right back.
Trading at Schwab is powered by Ameritrade, giving you even more specialized trading support. Connect with the Schwab Trade Desk, our team of passionate traders ready to tackle your trading questions, no matter how complex. Plus, get 24/7 live help and access support by phone, email, and in-platform chat. trade brilliantly. With Schwab. You can get this fixed now and pay later. Get this fixed now and pay later. And this. Get fixed now and pay later in 4 interest-free payments at SafeLife.com.
Safe Life Repair, Safe Life Replace.
This is Jess. Peloton instructor, educator, game changer. She needs her money to work as hard as she does. That's why she uses US Bank BankSmart in checking and savings, which does exactly that, helping her track her spending and grow her money. Together, we'll achieve more than any of us could alone. You got this, Jess.
We got this.
That's that big boy, 200 pounds.
And this is the power of us.
A big boy, 200-pound trader. 200-pound Native American trader.
Ideas to help bring tomorrow's goals within reach. Our broad suite of over 50 low-cost ETFs is backed by 150 years of active management expertise. Explore PGIM ETFs today.
NVIDIA could do this. We're the only company that builds our own chargers, and we've flown on that network all the way across the country, out to the Santa Monica Pier and back to Vermont. We're the only company that's doing military, cargo, logistics, medical, and passenger. And we're the first company to complete electric aviation transitions.
Shaolin Wu-Tang.
These are the milestones
Shaolin
that really
Wu-Tang.
matter. We're building an electric aerospace company. And there's only one company that's completed all of that, and it's Beta.
This is a place for the trailblazers, the visionaries, the future builders, equipped with the best tools and connected to the latest tech. We expand the horizon of possibilities. In Singapore, dreamers become doers and disruptors, and the world is our arena of imagination and innovation. This is our home ground.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World.
CNBC's daily digital show has trading updates, the latest headlines, a global perspective, and high-profile interviews. Scan to watch CNBC's Crypto World, sponsored by Crypto.com.
Welcome back to Overtime. Let's get one last check on NVIDIA here in Overtime. It's up about 4% right now, which is moments away from the company's earnings call, where we'll hear more from CEO Jensen Huang and others from the C-suite. So stay tuned to Fast Money for that, because that is going to be the next key for this stock. Yeah.
For sure. Well, with the holidays right around the corner, retail earnings season's heating up. There's a split between spending on stuff and experiences. So what are the charts saying about where the consumer momentum's really headed?
Big dog in this.
Yeah, John, I think one of the concerns is that
Yeah,
the consumer
John.
momentum
SANTORIO,
isn't
Mikey
seemingly
Charts.
heading anywhere, at least right now. There was a more dramatic
Charts.
split between spending on services, things like travel and restaurants, and goods for a while. This PEG is the entertainment.
What's up, Harley?
ETF. It
Harley,
basically
cool
covers
as
the broad
cool
range
as a
of consumer
fan.
services. And you see,
Cool
just
as a
recently,
fan
2
here,
weeks ago,
Harley.
there was a very, very wide divide there between that and the retail ETF, which is stores. That's people where you buy stuff. And all the big caps are the ones that are influenced. Now, a similar trajectory, they're holding up a little,
He had to teach y'all in case you ain't know retail stores, people where you buy stuff. I like that how he's teaching y'all. Not trying to be offensive. He slipped it in.
Market is today. Target results didn't really help the cause, although TJX, of course, continues to be a standout. I thought the price to sales ratio of companies that used to be very
Mikey Charts,
similar,
Mike
in
Santoli.
terms of how the market viewed them, the sustainability.
I do not
of their
own the
sales
rights
growth and all the
to
rest.
this
That is obviously falling
content.
apart. So
CNBC exclusively owns the rights to the content that I show and feature in my lives and my broadcasts.
Than it is to Walmart, which is obviously this consistent
with
winner, market share gainer, more
episodes
staples,
of different
type of a
CNBC
business
market
model. So,
programming
whether that
and
means
market
that,
news.
there's more room for Target to revive. Those are
And I would like
times
to.
forward earnings.
I wish I could
Macy's
have some
and
type
Target. It
of
does show you there's
partnership
not
as a
broad,
co-streamer,
confidence
as
that
a
we're gonna see
co-partner,
some kind of a massive
content content creator that disseminates CNBC content, implemented into their personal content. It's got to be a way to try to maybe work something out, because it's lightweight promoting CNBC and possibly introducing more people to CNBC market news programming, and could be an encouragement to people, minorities who don't understand that you can be involved in investing and in trading in different markets.
Trail off when, Google launched Gemini for, plan your travel through an agent and all the rest. So I think there's a little bit of static in terms of how sustainable those business models are. But yes, you have seen this waxing and waning between goods, and obviously that's where the tariffs have been applied too, and those stocks got punished early in the year much more than services did. Demographically, you would think services still has a long-term advantage because as people get older, they don't need as much stuff, but they need plenty of services.
All right, Mike Santoli, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Morgan, NVIDIA Blackwell chips are certainly goods, and those are getting bought.
They're goods, they're getting bought. I would imagine he's going to get some questions on this call about depreciation, since that's been a debate within the market, even if it hasn't been so much in the industry. And to your point, just the comments about Blackwell sales off the charts, cloud GPUs sold out right now, certainly sets the stage for what I would imagine is going to be a very confident Jensen Huang on that call.
Jensen has argued in the past that part of what CUDA does and NVIDIA's vertical approach to not just putting out chips, but systems, is there's a long useful life of those things, but also as he puts out more products, if you buy the latest version, you get even more efficiency. So I don't know. It depends on what the customer wants to buy.
Yeah, and of course, all of this is you have the Saudis in Washington, and we're continuing to see more of these trade deals, including things like sovereign AI, take shape too. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here at Overtime.
Fast Money starts now.
Live from the NASDAQ markets head in the heart of New York City's Times Square, this is Fast Money. Here's what's on top tonight. Those three words from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang helping send shares popping up down. Also headlines from the earnings report from the world's biggest company and how to trade the semi-giant now. And wheeling and dealing, we dive into the announcements out of the U.S. Saudi Investment Forum and the stocks most impacted by the news. Plus, Target misses the mark on earnings. Bitcoin treasury companies sink as the crypto continues to fall. And Selfie Cat, the industrial giant, quietly becoming the best performing Dow stock of the year, how it's leveraging AI to boost its business. I'm Melissa Lee, coming to you live from Studio B at the NASDAQ. On the desk tonight, Tim Seymour, Karen Finerman, Dan Nathan, and Guy Adami. NVIDIA bounce after our shares are now higher by just about 4.5%. After the semi-giant beat earnings and revenue estimates raised its forecast, the conference call kicking off at the top of the hour. Our own Christina Partsinevelos has got the latest. She's here on set. Christina.
Two of the biggest
Partsinevelos.
and why you're seeing the stock actually swing quite dramatically. What's changed from the last month is the demand is absolutely still there, but what is more expensive now is building the data centers, if for no other reason than because the debt has gotten more expensive. Mm-hmm. So to the extent that, maybe money isn't limited in this space, who knows, but if there's only so much money to go around and more of it is spent on interest, then somewhat less of it has to be spent on the rest of the AI build.
So are you questioning the quality of that $500 billion guidance?
One other thing I want to say about Jensen, nobody manages the street for better than Jensen.
Every single word you would want to come out of his mouth has come out of his mouth so far.
It's like to use AI to say what is the most absolute best thing
what can juice the stock higher? Virtuous cycle, off the charts. It's textbook.
But is that what you want him to say? I mean, I think we've talked about it, because I remember on GTC Day, virtuous cycle was the quote. But I don't know, I guess I feel like I'll just talk about the stock in a vacuum, not relative to the market, but the stock by itself. What's going to happen here is you now have an analyst community that can upgrade the stock. That 500 billion plus for 26 was something that we heard, we liked, it was nice, but we all know that the street was probably 30% or more lower than that. You're going to see follow through on upgrades. I also just don't think, I know it sounds crazy to say that there's not a lot of momentum in NVIDIA stock, but
it's gonna go up. But when NVIDIA starts to get towards 260, 300, that's when the growth is gonna slow down until they can prove ROI.
I'd like to join two of your
2027,
actually, it's quite strong.
it's going to come forth. 2027 is going to come forth, but 2027 is subject to be a whole bear market overall. This is just my opinion as a trader and somebody that's new to this game, that it's not trying to be wiped out by the bear whenever the bear, you know what I'm saying, rears his head and out in the wilderness. It's when they out of sight, out of mind, and they not being poached. You know what I'm saying? They breed.
That much, given it's gone sideways. So isn't that quite impressive for a $4.5 trillion company? It takes a lot.
I think given the Karen talked about this the other night. I mean, given the setup into this earnings release, it makes sense to me. It makes sense. You know, we sold significantly off the all-time high, back and filled a little bit. So it does make sense. But I get what you're saying. I'll say this as well. Look at Facebook over the last 3 or 4 weeks. They're being penalized because of the spend. If more and more companies start to get penalized because of the spend, what are they going to start to do? They might say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be spending. So that number you just mentioned,
$500 billion is in
maybe
question.
it's not etched in stone.
But does Marky Mark really care about what Marky Mark?
Marky Mark, cool.
Is the funky bunch the hyperscalers? Like,
they're all funky.
Do you remember Guy
Anyway,
Marky Mark?
I did.
Yeah. No, he did. Guy's a big fan of Mark.
Yeah, he's a fan.
Having said that, you've got a case here where.
Then I'm gonna make Guy a big fan of Sally Sale, Marky Mark, Sally Sale, hip hop. Listen, tune in to CNBC Market News. In my opinion, you should learn how to invest, and you could do it with the CNBC Investing Club. I'm Santorio Hector. I'm a record producer, self-taught investor. This is my reality YouTube financial market commentary and opinion channel. And literacy channel. Stay tuned in. Go check out the records that I produce featuring artists from across the globe, across the country, on Apple, on Spotify, on Tidal, on Pandora, on Boomplay in Africa, Audio Mac, YouTube Music, YouTube Red, wherever you can stream music. Santorio Hector, SANTORIOHECTOR. Go check out the records. You know what I mean? And learn to invest. You don't have to be a trader to invest. Buy stocks low, sell stocks high, and make money.
A month and a half ago.
Peace out.